back issues with everybody, and one of the things that I think that we forget about is our roots. I know I'm usually barefoot around the house anyways, but with not having to leave the house very much, I'm barefoot probably about 95% of the time right now, other than when I'm walking my dogs. And so I'm not getting any support in my feet. And then I do feel it later in my hips and my back, because a lot of times with the sciatica and that psoas area too, if we're not supporting our feet, that's where it really starts, because it starts all the way up the foot and comes up into the hip and into that back area, and sometimes that front hip area. So I'm trying to remember to put at least house shoes on. I know barefoot is actually really good for you, but it's also nice to kind of switch it up a little bit and have some of that support. So that's just my little PSA this morning about remembering maybe sometimes to slip on some shoes right now, and shoes with support. So we'll go ahead and start standing with our feet about hip width apart. Shoulders roll down the back, and we'll go tall on the spine, but do not block out the knees. Closing the eyes down, palms are facing forward, shoulders are rolled back. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale, let it go. Again, inhaling. And exhale, sigh it out. One more time, taking in a deep breath. And let it go. Keeping the eyes shut down, really feel all four corners of the feet onto the mat. Just feel that stability of pressing through the feet and growing tall all the way up through the body. The crown of the head is extending as if we have a string attached to the crown. Let's just gently start to sway a little bit. If you're comfortable with keeping the eyes shut down, do so here. We're just shifting side to side. Maybe shifting the feet forward and back. Just feeling into the body here. As if we're swaying in that light breeze that we have going today. Start to pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe swishing the hips side to side. Rolling the shoulders out a little bit. And spend a few more moments here, just kind of playing and feeling into the body. You're welcome to open the eyes if you're feeling a little bit off balanced. Maybe adding some head waves, adding the arms. We can be just kind of silly here because we're not in public class, so we can swish and dance around. Just getting that blood flow moving through the body. I can be silly on camera because why not? I'm silly in class too. Maybe start to shake a little bit. Just shaking, marching in the feet, shaking out the hands, shaking out the upper part of the body, marching into the legs, getting that blood flow and that energy moving. There were moments of just shake, shake, shaking. And then we find stillness. Close the eyes down and feel that vibration in the body. Feel that tingling of the blood flow. And then gentle the eyes open. We're going to start to work from our roots all the way up, since we were discussing the feet, starting with that right foot. And we're going to step it forward and just rotate through the ball of the foot a few times. A little bit of a balancing act, setting that you to bring the hands to the hip line. So we're just rolling to that pinky toe side. A lot of times in class, I bring in golf balls or tennis balls and we do this work to kind of get into the fascia of the feet. But this is always nice if we're just standing in the kitchen for a little bit and waiting for water to boil. You can just kind of feel into the foot. And reverse the direction, bringing the knee towards the body and just rolling towards that big toe side. And then place the sole of the foot all the way down onto the earth. You're going to take that right side and we're just going to step over to the knife edge of the foot. So we don't want to tweak out that knee and put too much pressure down, just enough so we get that sensation of the stretch and feel that knife edge side. And you'll notice as you start to kind of shift the weight in there, it might be too much and it might be just an indication of, wow, I didn't realize how sore my foot was feeling. And you can just back off a little bit. Or you might just shift into it a little bit more and really get that nice stretch, keeping the instep up off of the earth. Here for just a few more moments. And then place the sole of the foot back down, and now we'll step on the instep of the foot, so where we have that scoop on the inside of the foot. And just step down here, not too much pressure again. We don't want to put pressure on the knee. And then place the foot down. I'm going to shift the weight back, tuck that foot underneath so the top of the foot is down. And again, this is kind of a balancing exercise. So we're shifting so the top of the foot is down and we're getting that nice stretch in the front of the ankle here. Make sure we're not locking out that left knee here for just a couple more moments. And then very slowly release those toes, guide it forward, and just practice for a moment placing one toe down at a time. So we're placing the big toe, the middle toes. We're just working through each one of the toes a few times. And then place the foot back into center here. Close the eyes down. I just want you to notice the difference in the leg and that right side that we're working on, that foot, and then to that left side. Just noticing how that feels different. I always feel like I'm a little flatter after I get done working on one side, almost as if I just took roller skates off or ice skates. It's been a long time, but I remember that sensation. So let's come back over to that right foot, or excuse me, to that left foot now. And we'll just start with those circles, rolling to the knife edge of the foot, and drawing that knee to the outside. And just kind of notice here too, how does this foot feel different than the other side? Maybe this side has a little more sensation, or maybe a little less. Reverse that direction, bringing that knee in towards the body. And then placing that foot down again, we're going to come over to the knife edge of the foot on this side. So if you've ever looked at the maps of feet, they have kind of a map on there that shows different parts of the body that are associated with different parts on our feet. And so this knife edge side actually is kind of like this curvature of our spine. And so if you think about that, you can step down on that. That's the spine side. You might feel more sensation on that, especially if this is the side that you're having that soreness in the sciatica or that psoas. Very slowly rotate the foot around and we come into the instep of the foot. Not too much pressure here. We don't want to tweak out the knee at all. Place the foot back down, and then we'll just draw it behind, tucking toes underneath, getting that nice stretch into the top of the foot, into the front of the ankle here. And again, it's up to you how intense you want to make this. If you bend into the knee, we get a little bit more of a sensation. Or if we stand upright, get a sensation on a different side, and always can kind of rock in and out a few times. And then draw the foot back down to center. And we'll just kind of do that accordion thing too, setting one toe down at a time. That's why it seems like I can only start with my pinky toe. I really have to think about my big toe going down first. It's kind of a memory or mind thing as well as a toe thing. And then putting the foot all the way down. Close the eyes down. Really place both feet into the earth and just feel the difference. Feel as if you can maybe touch down just a little bit more here. And keeping the legs where they are now, and not quite as wide as hip width. We're going to work all the way up the body. I'm going to lean down a little bit and take my hands on top of the knees, and then just start to shift to the right side and then to the left. So drawing circles in one direction and then in the other. A few more times on this side. And then coming back to center, and we'll switch directions to the other side. And then slowly rise all the way back up. Walk the feet a little bit wider than hip width. Hands are on the hips. We're going to do that same movement where we shift over to the right side, kind of make that sassy hip, bend into the knees and over to the left side. So think about this as a hula hooping motion as we shift from hip to hip. So we're going to waken up the hips. I should probably feel this in the back side of the body and our hamstrings. Now those crackles out. A few more times in this direction. And then coming upright and switching to the other side. And very gentle as we sway around side to side. And then come on up, walk the feet back to that hip width apart. Hands rest down, really stretch and reach down. And we're just going to hinge at the hips, bringing palms up and behind. We're not going too deep right now, just coming into that halfway lift. And then slowly rising back up. Let's do that again. Hands are facing back, palms are up. Bringing that chest forward and back up. One more time. Very mindfully bringing that chest down and then back up. Let's work a little bit higher now. So we're coming into our shoulder area, bringing the hands right up to the shoulders. Thumb is tucked in behind. We're just going to shift side to side. So checking in with that lower half of the body, making sure that we're not locking out the knees. And just bringing those elbow creases down to one side and then the other. Getting into the lateral side of the body. And then come on up. Release the hands from the shoulders. Now draw the shoulders up towards the ears and relax them down the back. A few times, really creating this great big swoop all the way around with the shoulders, pretty dramatic. And then bringing the elbow points towards each other and rolling down. Now allow the circular energy moving through the body this morning. Now reverse the direction, bringing those shoulders forward and down. One more time, bringing them up towards the ears and release down. Press the hands down towards the earth, roll the shoulders back, dip the chin in towards chest. Stay here for just a moment. And then we'll find some half neck rolls or full neck rolls, whatever is in your practice this morning. Shifting the chin down towards the chest and either over towards the shoulder or all the way through. Moving with the breath here. If you are practicing full neck rolls, the next time chin meets chest, reverse the direction to the other side. And then slowly bring the head back up to neutral. Bring the arms out into a nice wide T. We're just going to create some circles all the way around, keeping palms really stretched out and opening those hands, bringing the shoulders all the way up and around and through. Make those circles a little smaller. And then a little smaller. And coming back to center. Now we'll reverse the direction. Great big circles all the way up and around. Make them smaller here. Very small, just a little circle. And then release. Now we'll give those wrists a little bit of love, creating a little fist here, and let's rotate in one direction. And then in that opposite direction. I got a lot of cracking going on there. And release the hands, give them a little shake out. All right, once again, we're going to bring those palms facing towards the back, up towards the ceiling, and very slowly shift the chest down, bowing forward, not coming all the way down yet. And just as slow as we arrive, come back up. Again, shifting forward. Hold for a moment, and then rise back up. One more time, shifting forward. And then bring the hands down, bend into the knees, and sweep all the way up, tall mountain, little back bend. Cactus the heart open, bring the elbows out to the side. Inhale to up. Exhale, bend into the knees, and this time we sweep all the way down. Keep a bend into the knees this first time for this forward fold. Swoop the fingertips up, bend into the knees, come all the way up, again a little back bend. Cactus the arms open, come back up, and roll all the way back down. Forward fold, up to you if you want to keep that bend into the knees. And then sweep the fingertips up as we bend. And then cactus open here into our back bend. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Press into the feet, bend into the knees, and then come all the way back up to standing. Hands gently press into heart center. Pause for just a moment and check in and see how the body's feeling now. Keeping with that kind of circular theme, we're going to bring that right hand up and overhead. Left hand is down by the waistline. We create kind of a globe here as if we're holding a great big full moon or a globe. And then shift and come to that other side. Left hand comes above head, right hand rests right in front of the hips and waistline. Moving from side to side a few times, reaching a little bit more each time. Keep that breath fluid. And we bring the hands back up towards the ceiling, cactus the heart open, and then fingers come up, Hands come into heart center and melt all the way down into this forward fold. Head is heavy here. If hamstrings are still feeling tight, put a generous bend into the knees. Maybe nod the head out to make sure that you're not holding any tension in the neck. Bending into the right knee, keep that right hand down onto the earth, a book or a block, as the left fingertips come up towards the ceiling into a twist. Release the palm back down on that left side. Raise the right fingertips up, bending into that left knee, open up here. Release the hand down. Let's do that one more time on each side. Bending into that right knee, left fingertips raise up. Release the hand down and open up to the other side. Release the fingertips down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt back down, forward fold. Bend into the knees, sweep the fingertips all the way up, tall mountain. Gently bring the hands into heart center, pressing the sternum into the thumbs. Take a nice inhale here for that flush of energy, and then exhale out. Feeling. Roll the shoulders on the back. Check in with those front toes and make sure they're not gripping too tight. Grow tall here. Keeping that weight as we really reach down, we're crunching down with the legs so that upper part of the body can be released and reach, reach, reach. Just like we did earlier, we're going to shift the chest forward, hands come up, palms are behind. Hold and hover here for a moment. Then sweep the fingertips up, raise up, gaze follows. Releasing forward into that half lift. And then raising all the way back up. One more time, shifting forward. And then raising back up. Release the hands to the hip line so we can pivot on that back foot. So now the foot is straight forward as if we were in a high lunge. Fingertips raise up. Release the hands down to frame the front foot. Release that back knee down to the earth. We'll shift forward and back a few times here. Starting to get into the hips and the hamstrings. Coming forward into that lunge, so low lunge. Bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling, crescent lunge. Release the palms down, framing that front foot. Left hand stays down onto the earth. Right fingertips come up into an easy twist. Gaze is up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Release the palm, framing that front foot. We're going to place both hands down onto the earth. Raise that back foot up and sweep that front foot back, meeting in downward facing dog. Take a few moments to pedal out here, maybe nodding at the head or rolling through the toes. Just a few moments of play in this down dog. Find some stillness and take a peek up at the front of the mat and a couple tiptoes all the way forward, and we meet in forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Press into the feet, bend into the knees, and raise all the way up to that tall mountain. Cactus open here, shine that chest forward. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, release the hands to the hips. We're going to keep that left foot forward now. Right foot's going to step back into our warrior one again. So pivot that back foot so it's open out to the side. And we're kind of like on a railroad track situation here. Take the hands to the hips and make sure that hips are shining forward. So that right hip is coming forward as that left hip comes back. Fingertips raise up, grow tall here. Roll the shoulders down the back, bend into that front knee. We're not looking for a back bend here. We want to be nice and tall, feel that length of the head and that tailbone pressing down. Chest comes forward, fingertips float back. Hover for a moment. Then sweeping up, gaze follows fingers. Again, bowing forward and raising up. Once more, bowing forward, hover. Then shift back up. Release the hands to the hip, pivot on that back toe. Fingertips raise up. Then melt down, placing hands onto the earth, framing that front foot. Release the back knee down to the earth. And let's just shift back and forth a few times. Checking in now on that opposite side. Coming into our low lunge, bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Crescent the heart open here. Fingertips come back up. Melt forward, place the hands onto the earth. Right hand stays down as the left fingertips peel up. And take a peek up towards the fingers if it's okay with the neck. Release the palm down. Tuck those back toes underneath, placing weight into the hands as we shift that front foot back into downward facing dog. Take a peek forward and a step, hop, jump, however you'd like to get to the front of the mat, meeting in our forward fold. Halfway lift, melt back down. Pressing into feet, bending into knees, sweep all the way up. And cactus the heart open here, shine that chest forward. And then rounding into the upper back, dip the chin in towards the chest, bring the palms towards each other. Scoop the fingertips out, open the chest. Again, bowing the head in towards the chest, bringing palms towards each other. And then opening up. One more time, dipping the head. And then cactusing open. Release the hands down. We're going to come into now our warrior two, which is a more of an open hip posture. So keeping that right foot forward, left foot will step back. This is the time that I like to line up my heel with my heel, or that front heel with the arch of my back foot. Pressing into the pinky toe of both sides of my feet, bending into the front knee, open the elbows out, arms out to the side. Really press those pinkies back as if you're pressing against a wall. Take a peek over towards that front hand. Now turn the palm so it's facing towards me. Back palm faces towards me as well. We're going to bring that back hand to meet front palm. And then as if we're shooting an arrow, bring that back palm towards the chest. Again, rotate that hand around. Then shoot that arrow, bring that hand back. One more time, hand comes around. And then draw that arrow back. Hold here for a moment so that back hand is resting right by the shoulder. Front hand is raising up. Bend into that front knee a little bit more. Taking that front hand, so that right hand raises up, left hand melts down to lower back or down to the lower leg. Reversing our warrior here. Put a bend into that front elbow, bringing forearm down on top of the thigh. Back hand, right hand reaches, left hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Extended side angle. Sweep that hand down, pivot on the back foot, framing front foot, release that back knee down to the earth. Sweep the fingertips up, cactusing here, blossoming that chest forward. Fingertips sweep up, release the hands down, framing the front foot. Left hand stays down onto the earth, right fingertips reach up. Release that right palm, framing the front foot. Tuck that back toe underneath. Raise the knee up off of the earth. Front foot comes back to meet back foot, downward facing dog. On the inhale, we shift forward into a plank. On the exhale, we lower all the way down to the earth. We're starting to stretch out the back a little bit more. Bring the palms behind, just like we had earlier. The palms are facing down, fingertips are stretching down towards the heels. No strain on the neck. We're going to bring our chest up off of the floor. Gaze stays down. If you'd like a little bit more of a stretch, bring the tops of the feet up off of the earth. Really reaching the shoulders down, fingertips down towards the feet, while that crown of the head stretches forward. So we're not bringing the neck up, we're keeping that gaze down. Press into the belly, breathe here. If you have the feet raised, lower them down. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders and raise all the way back up into our down dog. Take a peek forward and a walk, step, jump, however you'd like to get to the front. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Press into the feet, bend into the knees, and sweep all the way up to that tall mountain. Cactus the arms open, shine the chest forward. Left foot steps forward or stays forward, right foot steps back. I'm going to switch directions here. Finding our warrior two. And again, check in with all that alignment. Make sure we're pressing into the pinky toe of both of the feet. Shoulders are stacked above the hips. So we're not shifting forward, but we're bending into that front knee. Bringing that right hand forward, and coming around to that left hand, and shoot that bow and arrow back. Again, rotate the palm around to meet the front palm, and then shoot the arrow back. One more time, bring it around, and then bring that palm back to that shoulder, raise that front arm, keep the bend into the knees, gaze up, releasing that right hand down to lower back, front arm raises above head, reversing the warrior here. Put a bend into that front elbow, bring it down. That forearm on top of the thigh, right hand raises up. Release that top arm down, pivot on the back foot, and release down into our low lunge. Fingertips raise up. Cactus the heart open. Fingertips raise up. Release the palms down. Tuck that back toe underneath, raise the foot up, bring that back foot to meet, front foot to meet back foot, downward facing dog. Shift forward, high plank or low plank. And then lower all the way down to the earth. Once again, we press those palms up towards the ceiling, fingertips towards the back. Peel the chest up off of the earth. Really press into pubic bone, press into the belly here. Stretch those toes back, stretch the fingertips back. Working to strengthen and stretch back body. Bring the palms around, release the tops of the feet down. This time we're going to press back into a child's pose. So big toes to touch, knees out wide. Melt down here into child's pose and take a couple breaths. Slowly raise back up. Coming into our tabletop position, knees are stacked right underneath the hips. Walk the hands one handprint forward. Tuck the back toes underneath. Raise the hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. And you can find a new way to get to the front of the mat. Hop, skip, jump, or maybe just cross the feet walking over. And meet in forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Press into the feet, bend into the knees, and raise all the way up, tall mountain. Cactus the heart open, shine here. Right foot stays forward, left foot steps back. We find our warrior two. Again, check in with the alignment. Flip the palms to face towards me. Back hand comes around, meaning front hand. And then shoot that arrow back. Once again, find that rotation, bring that palm around. And then shoot the arrow back. One more time, palm comes around. And then bring that palm back to the shoulder. Raise that front hand, that right hand up a little bit more. Lower back hand to lower back or down the leg. Shift that right hand above the head. Keep that bend into that front knee. Reverse warrior. Bending into the elbow. Very slowly rotate around. Rest that forearm on top of the leg. Back arm raises up into our extended side angle. We can stay here with that forearm resting on top of the thigh, or we can bring that palm down. So both hands are facing towards the front. And really press that hand, or excuse me, that elbow into the thigh to open up a little bit more. Bend into the knee, come back to warrior two. We're going to switch it up a little bit. So bring the hands to the hips, pivot that back foot. We're going to step it up until we feel stable onto the ground for our triangle. So both toes are facing towards the front. Hands are on the hip line. Shift the chest forward. We can bring those palms back down, really releasing the shoulders down the back and hover here. And then release the palms down to frame the foot, or we can bring them onto blocks or books. Nose comes down towards knee, shifting that back hip so it's towards the front of the mat, and that front hip towards the back. Just that little bit of a shift, you're going to feel so much of a difference in those hips. Hands come to the hip line, and very slowly peel back up. Back foot steps up to meet front foot. Fingertips raise up. Swan dive all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Very slowly come all the way up, reversing our swan dive, all the way up to standing. Hands gentle into heart center. We're going to repeat that flow on that opposite side. So this time, left foot stays forward, right foot steps back. Warrior two. Bending into that front knee. Flipping palms so that they're facing towards the front. Back palm comes around to meet front palm, and then shoot the arrow, bringing it to shoulder. Once again, rotate the hand around and bring it across the body and back. One last time, shifting it around, and then shoot that arrow back. Raise that thumb up towards the ceiling. Keep that bend into the knees. This is the last time. Hang in there. Now lower that back hand to lower back as we shift that front hand overhead. Putting a bend into that elbow. Come forward, resting on top of the thigh. Back arm reaches up. Grow tall here. Optional to keep that forearm on top of the thigh, or we can use it to press open here, bringing that palm down. Find the gaze that's working for you, whether it's looking up, neutral, or down. Raise back up into warrior two. Hands come to the hips. Pivot on that back toe, and we'll just step it up until we're feeling stable with both feet facing towards the short edge of the mat. Hinging at the waistline, start to bring that chest forward. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders back. A couple breaths into this triangle. It's a pyramid, excuse me, pyramid pose. Lowering the hands down to the earth, blocks or books. Bringing that nose towards me. Again, make sure that we're shifting those hips so they're nice and square. So that front hip is pushing towards the back of the mat, and that back hip is pushing towards the front of the mat. Breathe into our hamstring here. Hands come up to the hip line and very slowly raise all the way back up. And just a little bit of a change, turn the toes to the wide edge of the mat. Shifting forward once more, half lift. And then melting all the way down, forward fold. Let's do a little bit of gentle movement and swaying side to side here. Playing in the body. Doing what feels right. Like I always say, I'm here just to offer suggestions, and you know what feels good. Centering body again. Bring that right hand down to the earth, left fingertips open, just like we did earlier with the legs close. Opening into our twist. Release that palm down and open to the other side. Release that palm down. And then bring the hands to the top of the thighs, dipping that tailbone down. Let's just swoop up. And then again, halfway lift, lower down. Then tailbone comes forward, and we raise all the way back up. Walk the feet back together. And inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down. Place the hands onto the earth. Step back, downward facing dog. Shifting forward onto the knees. Coming down into our tabletop position. We're going to go ahead and come down one more time onto the belly. And shift those hands towards the back. Last time, shine that head towards the front, crown of the head towards the front. Raise the feet up off of the ground. Roll the shoulders back. And breathe here. Release the palms back underneath the shoulders. Shift the hips a little bit side to side a few times just to relax the hips. And then press into the toes, come on back. Let's try a closed leg child's pose here. Got a lot of back bends, so I want to really release down. Allow my shoulders to roll down. Creating that C shape with the back. And then bring the hands around and coming into a seated position. In our seated position, let's extend the legs out long in front. We'll raise the fingertips up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders down the back. Creating a very active stretch here. Let's bring those hands forward, keep that height and that length in the back. Then hands rest down. We may not get very deep here. We're not bringing chin towards chest and we're not rounding. We're staying pretty tall. Hands can come to the feet if you feel okay here, or they can rest right by the shins or thighs. Now creating a passive stretch, melt down, allow the back to round. Take your time to raise back up. And we'll snuggle that right foot in towards the groin. We can keep it right here on the outside of the leg, or just switch it over so it's crossing over that extended leg. Fingertips raise up, roll the shoulders down the back. Bringing that left hand around to snuggle that knee in towards the body, find a twist here. So really getting into that sciatica and the side hip here. That right hand I like to have right behind the spine, so it's a little kickstand so I can grow tall and I'm not hunching forward. See if we can keep that foot down onto the earth, and that extended leg, we're keeping the toes very bright. Very slowly unwind, bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then we'll find a counter twist on that opposite side. Come back around to center and unwind the legs. Now we'll do that on the opposite side with that stretch. Bring that left foot in towards the groin. You can stay here or cross over that extended leg. Fingertips raise up, shoulders roll down the back. Turning into the leg so that thigh and the chest come in towards that leg. And I'm using my right hand to squeeze that knee in. Left hand is right behind spine so I can grow tall here. One more deep breath. And then inhale, bring the fingertips up. We find that counter twist on the opposite side. Twists are really great for the body to really kind of help that lower back release. It's good to give our internal organs a squeeze. Unwind, release that leg, come back to center. We're going to find that stretch once more, that fold, so fingertips raise up. And then melt down, holding onto feet or resting hands right by the shins. Keep that length in the spine. Now turning it into a passive stretch. Allow the head to be heavy and round into the back. Very slowly press back up. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet down to the earth and rock a few times back and forth along the length of the spine. And when we're ready, come on down, squeeze the knees in towards the chest. Hug them nice and tight here. And then release the soles of the feet down onto the earth. So crossing that right knee over the left, we're going to keep that cross in the knee and then guide that shape in towards the body. So into our shoelace here, holding on to the ankles or to the outside of the feet. If you have any knee issues and this is too intense, then just kind of unwind a little bit. But ideally, we're trying to keep those knees stacked and the shoulders roll down and flat onto the earth. Really intense stretch into the outside hip and into the groin. Breathe deep. Release the clasp of the hands, release the legs, bring them down, unfolding the knees, and let's just rock gently side to side a few times, windshield wipering. And then we'll go to that opposite side. So crossing that left knee over the top of the right knee, and then snuggle the shape in towards the body, taking a hold of the ankles or to the outside of the foot. Just noticing how this side might feel different than the other. And it might be where we just need to unwind a little bit. It might be too intense. Keep the shoulders down the back and onto the earth. And try to see if you can take any of the tightness out of the body, out of the face, or anywhere that you might be holding tension. Two more long, deep breaths here. Gently release the feet, unwind the legs, and just bring the knees in towards the center a few times, swishing back and forth. And then centering the feet underneath. We're going to take a hold of that dog leash or that strap here and just gently bring it one knee in at a time. And we're bringing the strap right at the ball of the foot below the toe mound. So extending legs up towards the ceiling. Take a hold of the strap on however it feels good for you. You can either hold both straps. Excuse me, dogs are barking. Holding on to both straps, keeping shoulders down. Or some people like to walk the hands up a little bit higher, holding on here. Really think as if you were stepping on the ceiling. So press those heels towards the ceiling. Normally in our classes, I come over and hold your feet. And there will be a day soon that we can do that again. Just as imagine as if I have that weight and I'm pressing down onto your feet. Such a great way to get the reverse blood flow. And giving our hearts a much needed break here. Just a few more moments. Make sure you're not gripping so tight that you're compromising the wrists. Gently bend into the knees, releasing the straps. Snuggle the knees in towards the chest once more. If it's okay with the neck, peel the forehead towards the knees into a ball. And then release everything down. Finding our Shavasana here, whatever that looks like for you. So you can roll the shoulders underneath the back a little bit. Let the legs be nice and wide, or keep them bent if you have any lower back issues. Palms can turn up into a state of surrender towards the ceiling, or rest on the belly and the chest. Feeling the magic of our practice wash over us. Begin to deepen the breath. Check in and see if there's anywhere that you're holding tension. You let it go. Just open the mouth. And just jog that lower part of the mouth side to side. You can say the letters X, O. Releasing any tension in the face. Area of the body we hold a lot of tension. Bring the lips back together and nod the head side to side. Bringing the palms together, create a little fist. Gently release into a fist again. And then release. Find a wiggle in the toes and a rotation of the ankles. Draw the hands above the head, stretch the toes down towards the bottom of the mat, stretch and reach, 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 reach. And then release. Soles of the feet come back onto the earth. Shift the body over to one hip and find our fetal position. Pausing here for just a breath and setting an intention for the rest of our day. Use that top arm to press yourself back up to seated. Take your time to arrive. And we come to seated. Gentle the palms into heart center, pressing them together. Thank you so much for joining me this morning and sharing your energy and your practice with me. Have a fantastic rest of the day and the week ahead. Namaste.